We're with Ryan Tegnelia. He's a criminal defense attorney in San Diego, California. He's agreed to answer some online questions specifically related to assault and assault charges. With that said, Ryan, let's get into the first questions that were posted online. This one's specific to you. What do you charge to defend an assault case?
That's a very common question of how much do lawyers charge. It's a very difficult one to answer because assault is a very common term used by people that describes a vast array of a field of criminal defense. Assault, the definition that you learn in law school, is simply a violent attempted touching, essentially, where if you try to punch someone, as an example, but you miss, that's an assault. But it's also a whole array of crimes that are up to and including assault with a deadly weapon, mayhem where someone's permanently disfigured, and everything in between. So it really varies depending on the level of violence, the amount of injury we're looking at, and the exposure as far as whether or not you're looking at maybe doing some community service or possibly looking at possible prison time.
Okay, next question is, what is your experience level in defending assault charges?
Well, my experience level is about as broad as it gets. Like I said, the most simple assault charge is one where there is a violent or terse altercation, but no one's actually injured or perhaps doesn't even get touched, maybe a fight that gets broken up before it really gets out of hand, but the police place people under arrest for everyone's safety, up to and including murder. And I've handled all of that at all ranges up through jury trial.
Okay, excellent. My son is being charged with assault, but we have a limited budget. Should I bail him out first, or is the first thing to do, is it better to hire an attorney?
Well, that's also a great question, and it's one we get a lot. There are a couple of reasons why I think it's better to call an attorney first rather than the bail bondsman. It's a very understandable instinct that when a loved one is arrested, the first thing you want is to get them out of jail, and it's almost certainly going to be their first concern. When they're calling you from in custody, they're going to be more concerned with getting out than hiring the attorney. However, there are two main reasons, I think, why it's best to consult an attorney first. One is when someone's booked into custody with the sheriff, the arresting officer gets to post essentially the amount of the bail. And it's not at all uncommon for the officer to do what's commonly referred to as overbooking the person, which means they book them in on crimes that are much more severe than what the person ends up actually facing. So one of the most common examples when it comes to assault cases is someone will get in a bar fight where no one's really hurt that badly. The officer will be called, they'll arrest whoever they believe is at fault, and they'll book the person in on what's Penal Code Section 245, which is a felonious assault with a deadly weapon or force likely to create great bodily injury. However, if no one's actually been hurt, which is a fact that we can often discover because in my bar fight scenario, chances are your loved one had a friend or a relative that was with him that could give us some information. If no one's hurt, it's very unlikely that the district attorney's office is going to charge the person with a 245. They'll much more likely charge them with a misdemeanor 242 or 240 assault, where the bail could potentially tens of thousands of dollars lower than what the arresting officer booked them in on. So that's reason number one, is see if the attorney believes that the bail appropriately reflects the amount of the conduct in the case. And number two, many of the major bail bond companies will give a discount to you if you're referred from an attorney. So if we decide that the bail is appropriate and that it's appropriate to bail them out, subject for a different video, but there are some circumstances where it's actually advisable to not bail someone out, even if you can. The attorney can potentially save you some money by referring you to a reputable bail bondsman.
Okay, excellent. And the last question we had is, if I hire you, will I know the full cost before we start, and do you offer payment plans?
The answer to both questions is yes. In criminal defense, we do not charge a retainer fee, which is what most people think of when hiring a lawyer. So, you give me $5,000, then every month I send you a bill for how much work I did, and I then deduct that money until the retainer runs out, and then you give me more money or I get off the case. Criminal defense, we don't do that for various reasons. We charge a flat fee, meaning that we tell you from the beginning exactly how much the case is going to cost through various stages of the case, and you pay it up front or on a payment plan. What type of payment plan and how much is due up front and what your payment's going to be every month, that depends a lot on the type of case, the level of the offense, and your personal financial situation. We understand here that you're looking at a very difficult situation. You have a loved one who may be in jail, or you are facing criminal charges, often for the first time. You may be accused of something where your version of events is wildly different than what is being represented by the police or by another person. And so we want you to make sure that you have the representation that you feel comfortable with and that can help you achieve the best results. So we sit down and we talk to you and get the facts of your case and let you know what we believe, and also based on what your finances are, what the best possible payment plan is for you. There are some circumstances where you simply do not have enough money to properly defend yourself with a private attorney, in which case we will tell you that you should just seek the services of the public defender. That is what they're there for, is for indigent persons.
Okay, excellent. Well, if you have any additional questions for Ryan, he's agreed to answer them online. All you have to do is post the questions to the bottom of the YouTube video. Typically, he can get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. With that said, thanks for your time, Ryan.
Hey, thank you. And yes, I do love answering questions online. If you want to talk to me, then give me a call. My number is 619-577-0868. Thanks for everything.